going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time of your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 additional blue staples that you can run in Commander. You can either run this in a variety of different decks or pretty much all Commander decks. I think this is part 4, maybe it's part 5, I honestly don't know. I'll list the other parts in the number below. I only talk about 10 cards in this video because we could realistically be here all day. Your girl's a blue mage, we love blue, we love casting spells, we love spell slinging, countering things, destroying, well, blue doesn't really destroy, there's rapid hybridization and the other one that I always forget the name of, but you know, we talked about that already. Let's jump into it. Let's get started with, okay, this card's so funny. So I don't remember what my friend Trav was playing the other day. By the way, when I say the other day, this really means actually like 4 months ago. Anyways, Corrupted Conscious. And it was so funny because he was playing it and I was like, this card is so good. And he's like, right? And it's literally cents. Like, it's not a very expensive card. And so basically what I like about this card is it, to me, does 2 things. The first thing is that you get to steal a thing. And the second thing is you give it Infect. Now, for me, I don't think you need to run this in an Infect deck. I don't really think you need to do that. I just think if you're like, hey, I just kind of want to steal my opponent's thing, what's a good card that does that? There are a couple of cards that do that. Corrupted Conscious feels like a good option. I kind of want to play with this card. I don't know what I would put it in. Maybe Riku, that'd be really fun. And then I could take someone's stuff and then I could give it Infect. That sounds fun. Okay, the next card is Precognition Field. This is for my people who are playing the instants, the sorceries. Here's a couple of things that I like about this card. First off, it's 4 mana, which is pretty great. You can look at the top card of your library anytime. We love access to information. I'm all for that. So anyways, you get that access to information, which is great. You can cast it off the top if it's an instant sorcery. Let's just say you are mana flooded, you are don't needing any lands, and you look at that top card and it is a land, you can just exile it. What I also really like about this too is that you can do that exiling as many times as you have the mana for it. So let's just say you've got like, I don't know, 9 mana and you're like, oh, I don't want these next 3 cards. You can just exile, exile, exile. And assuming you're playing this with a lot of instants and sorceries, you're probably playing a lot of stuff on your opponent's turns, so you can just go ahead and do this at the end of the turn. Love this. This is a card where if you're looking to spend a little bit of money, this with Sensei's Divining Top, I think it's a good dynamic duo. And I don't love Sensei's Divining Top, so that says a lot. Okay, next card. I love this card. I don't see anyone playing with it, and I think this card is really cool, and it's also incredibly affordable, and that is Flood of Recollection. It's not Flood of Reflection. Don't get that confused, because I do. Anyways, this card is 2 mana for a sorcery. You can return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Now, you do have to exile this card, so you're not off here trying to get, a bunch of sort of things, but it honestly does not matter. This card is awesome. I love playing an instant sorcery and then getting it back. Like, my favorite personal thing to do is like to play Treasure Cruise or Dig Through Time or something like that and then get this back. You do have to exile it, but it's honestly only 2 mana. This card's great, and it's a very affordable card. So if you're playing a bunch of instant sorceries, throw this card on in your deck. It's very good. Oh, we're talking about a jellyfish. The reality chip. So reality chip to me is for my people who probably are playing like a mono blue deck. Not to say that you can't run this in other things, like you definitely can, but you need mana acceleration. So I'll give you an example. I have my Grand Arbiter deck. I'm playing white and I'm playing blue. Neither of those colors are typically pretty friendly to getting additional mana on the field. Reality Chip is a good card for something like that. Now, if you're playing blue and green's going to get you taken care of. You don't really need to worry about that. But if you're struggling for mana acceleration, look at the Reality Chip. You can look at the top card of the library anytime. We just talked about that. We love that for us. If it's attached to a creature, you can play lands, and you can cast spells from the top. This seems like a great card. I like it. And it's a jellyfish. Come on. I'm going to talk about a card that I genuinely don't think a lot of people know about because it's only been printed like once or twice, I think. It might have only been once in Cold Snap. Wizards of the Coast. Let's get on it. Time for a reprint, my friends. And that is Copy Enchantment. This is for my people who are playing enchantments, but hear me out on this point. Is this card is 3 mana, and you can choose any enchantment. So it doesn't have to be yours. So if someone has a really great enchantment, this might be possibly a dead card in your hand at moments because you don't really have anything to do it with it, but I think this card is really cool. I really like this card. I think if you're building like a Leela in particular is what comes to my head. Things where you're doing a lot of artifacts and enchantments, or just enchantments. This card is really cool. But again, it doesn't have to just be you. So if someone's got a better enchantment, I don't know, copy like a Mirror's Week or something cool like that. Sounds like a good plan to me. I love this card, and I don't see anybody playing with it, and I don't know why, and that is Dissipation Field. Dissipation Field's awesome. I also think, too, not a lot of people know about this card because it's only been printed, I think, like, once in Mirrodin, I think. Maybe I think it's been, like, once in Mirrodin, or maybe it was in a Commander set, too, but this card is really cool. I love Dissipation Field because things are going to be, like, dealing damage to you all the time, and what I love about this is it's a permanent. So if someone has, like, I don't know, an artifact that does damage to you, or like a land or anything like that, that gets bounced to their hand. I originally discovered this card when I was building Tamishi, and when I transitioned away from Tamishi into Grand Arbiter, I still kept this card in here because I was like, this card is so cool. I love it. If you're building, even if you're not building like bounce house stuff, Dissipation Field is a good card for you. Bouncing things, they attack with their creatures and they get bounced back to their hand. That sounds like a good day. I like it. Okay. I feel like it's been a very long time since we talked about a counterspell, and that is an offer you can't refuse. This is for my people who are playing my more competitive EDH decks, and you need some protection. The difference between a 1 mana and a 2 mana counterspell matters. An offer you can't refuse is there for you. It's obviously an instant. Now, you can only counter target non-creature spell. That is something important to note. So you're not out there countering any creatures. You got to do something else for that. But they do get 2 treasure tokens. Personally, it's not my absolute favorite of the counter spells, but if you are in a pinch, you are in a competitive setting, you need something, this card's also only about like $2-3. It's not gonna break your bank, and it's a good like CEDH sort of card that you can run, that, you know, all that sort of stuff. I cannot believe that it's been so long to tell you about one of my infinite combos that I run in Grand Arbiter, which is Enter the Infinite. Very, very, very easy combo to do. Now, when I say easy, you're going to be like, Tracy, this card is 12 mana. In Commander, 12 mana is whatever. You just play this card with other things. Ramp harder. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get your 12 mana, you know? Like, you're probably not casting this card super early on, although I did have a game the other day where I Enter the Infinite until I'm like 8 or something. That was really wild. Anyways, it's a lot of mana, but it's a win condition. That's kind of what it's meant for. Now, it's not a win condition on its own, because the reality is you need a way to, you've drawn your entire deck, basically, except for one card. So here's what you need, is you need like a card like Laboratory Maniac to synergize with this. And you also need, now, in all of those cards that you've drawn, I'm sure you've drawn at least one thing that's going to help you draw like an additional card, so you can get that sort of, or I guess 2 cards technically with that. But anyways, yeah, Enter the Infinite. It's a win condition. It's a very easy win condition to do in terms of like, you're going to draw something that's going to draw you, you know, those 2 cards. But amongst all those cards that you're drawing, I'm assuming that you're drawing a card that's going to help you draw more cards. You know what I'm saying? Also, too, you will need more than just 12 mana for your Lab Maniac and for your thing. So it's not just you play it on turn 12, you win. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do more with it. But it is a fairly easy combo in the grand scheme of things. And you also realistically only need like this and 2 other cards. So 3 cards total to combo. It's not that crazy, you know? Okay, let's talk about one of my personal, absolute favorite cards in the Magic universe, and that is this little magic card. It's actually not a little magic card. It's quite a big magic card, and this is a card called Expropriate. Okay, let me tell you, you have not lived until you have expropriated and then copied it and then taken 7 extra turns. Who's done that? Raise your hand. It's truly one of the best things ever, and what I love so much about Expropriate is you put your opponents in such a annoying predicament, because you are going to vote for an extra turn, obviously. And then the thing is you go around the table and then everybody else picks. Do you want to take their super threatening thing, or do you want to take an extra turn? And so a lot of times when I play this with my friends, they're like, I don't want you to take my thing, just take the extra turns and just win. And that's usually what happens. Now, you will exile Expropriate after. It's also 9 mana. You're not getting this out anytime soon. Probably not. It's a little bit on the expensive side. It's 1,000% worth it. This card is incredible. Even if you're not copying it, you can also run this card with I forget the name of this card, but it's a instant, or maybe it's a sorcery, but it's a blue card, I believe, and it's you control how your opponents vote. So you play that, and then you just give yourself extra turns, and then you've won at that point, because that's just what you do. It's a great card. If you're gonna run it though, you should run it with copies, because it's like infinitely better. Okay, now the last card. Speaking of not taking extra turns, like Will of the Council, like sort of effects, we have Plea for Power. Plea for Power, to me, is like a mini, not as good Expropriate, but I still do really like it. So basically, this one is, they vote for time or knowledge. If time gets more votes, you get to take an extra turn, and if knowledge gets more votes or is tied, you get to draw 3 cards. I'm gonna tell you right now, this card says draw 3 cards. The thing is nobody is going to give you an extra turn. It's just not going to happen with this for the most part. But what I love so much with this, again with Riku, is I play this and then I copy it and then I get to draw like 6 cards, which is really, really cool. So I really like it. I think it's really fun. And again, this with that other card that we talked about earlier where you get to control how people vote, you know, there you go. So anyways, guys, that is everything for talking about 10 additional blue EDH staples. Love blue so much. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.